G'day everyone, welcome to another edition of Chris Rankin's Music Crush. A couple of new things and rest just what I've been listening to. Not a big stack today, but I haven't made a video in a while. Just been working so much, pretty much every day. I'm actually working later today, but I thought, no, I want to get on and make a video. So a bit of a listening video, new releases as usual for this time of the week, and yeah, just a couple of things that I bought. Some really great new releases that have come out last Friday and this Friday just gone. The Black Mass album, fantastic. There's an album by a band called ILLT, which has Speed Strid from Soilwork. How come I can't pronounce Soilwork? Soilwork, there we go. Carl Sanders from Nihil is on there. The drummer from Megadeth, Dirk, I can't remember his surname now. He's on there as well. And what it is basically it's a band that was put together by a Norwegian film composer, as far as he does scores and soundtracks for Norwegian films and generally horror films. So he had this musical piece in mind that he wrote, and he wanted these artists to come together and make it, and it's fantastic. It's really, really good. A good mixture of black and death metal, and it's just basically extreme metal, I guess, but done in a film score composer's way, if you know what I mean, and it's really good. So the band title that he made for it is called ILLT, ILLT. Really, really, really good. Love it very much. What else have we got? There's the new Drott album, which is a combination of the band Ulva and Enslaved. Really interesting stuff. Yeah, really, really interesting album. Didn't really expect it, if you can think of both of those two styles combined, but probably more on the way Ulva sound these days more than Enslaved, although there was a little bit of this sound on the latest Enslaved album that came out last year. Yeah, so many great albums as always coming out. So I'll put a list of those titles in the link below. I didn't do a video last week, so there'll be a little bit from last Friday plus the Friday that's just gone. I'll put in there. But let's get on to what I've been listening to and a couple of things I bought. Also, a couple of 4 or 5 good friends of mine in Perth. We got together last Saturday night, not this one, but the one previous, and it was good. We actually had like a record night, a record appreciation night. We just got together and everyone brought some of their favourite new sort of lesser known things that they wanted to share, and we took turns putting them on. It reminded me of back in my primary school days, you know, early 80s, where we would get together. My friends, where I grew up in that part of Perth, we would get together and we'd bring along mainly cassettes. I don't think anyone had a record player. I had a record player at my house, but most of the time we would just use tapes. I think we were a bit worried about handling records at that age and that sort of thing. So we'd bring cassettes along and we would play. What have you got? What have you heard? And it was a really good time last Saturday night at my good friend Alexi's house. So we're planning to do more of those as well. You never know. May even film an episode of Chris Rankin's Music Crush there. We'll see how we go. See if it works out to be a good thing or not. Anyway, first of all, I bought this album. So this is part of the new releases, but I didn't mention it yet because I wanted to show the physical copy. I bought this the day after it came out. So it came out Friday, not this Friday, but the Friday before. And I bought it the Saturday morning after. Love this band. Absolutely love everything they've done. I've seen them twice live. Absolutely brilliant live, no doubt about it. And I'm talking about the new Carcass album, Torn Arteries. First of all, the artwork, magnificent. So good. As you know, Carcass, the members are vegan, so they've done the blood and the gore, but of the heart, they've done it with the the vegetables. I think that's very clever. Love this. Absolutely love it. Played it pretty much non-stop. At least sort of the first 4 or 5 days. Just couldn't get enough of it. Played it so much. There's a track on here that's become one of my favourite Carcass songs of all time. And wait till you hear the title, as usual with Carcass, but Flesh Ripping Sonic Torment Limited. I love it. The gore mixed with sort of comedy and humour, and some of their song titles are obviously just long medical terms almost, but wow, it is one of my favourite songs I've ever done. Just love it. Everything about it is so good. It's just one riff after another lining up behind each other, and then just coming along. Right, here comes the next one. And they're just money riffs galore on that song. Love it. Title track, Torn Arteries, so good. What else have we got? Oh, the Scythe's Remorseless Swing, another ripper of a song. That's the last song. Wake Up and Smell the Carcass, another great song. It's just The Devil Rides Out, another ripper of a song too. Yeah, it's just Carcass. Best way to describe this is, and I know people, I never got this. I know people were really hard on Swan Song. I actually really love that album. Especially the opening track, Tomorrow Never Comes. No, Tomorrow Belongs. Oh, I can never remember the title, how it goes. You know the song, the opening track. Love that song. And I think Swan Song, I don't know why, I think it got too much of a hard time. It's actually a really catchy, riffy album. But this album is like a combination, I think, of Heartwork and Swan Song. The catchiness and groovy riffs of Swan Song, but you know, there's some heaviness and meatiness of Heartwork and the melodies as well. But it's new, it's different in its own way. Definitely Carcass in every way. So if you've ever loved Carcass or anything close to Carcass, I think you'd absolutely love this, because yeah, I couldn't stop playing it. And I will continue to keep going back to it. It'll finish quite high on my end of year list, which I've actually started culling. I got up to 508 albums that I've loved so far this year. I listened to a lot of albums, probably listened to about 900 to 950 albums that released this year so far. And I've started culling my list down now, so I start going through, right, yeah, this was good, but it's not going to make it until I get to sort of around Christmas, where I have my final 100-year list. So I've culled quite a few already. I've culled about 40 or 50 out of the list that I've loved so far. But anyway, back to Carcass. Yeah, 7th album, so good. Can't recommend it enough. Next one I've been listening to a lot. Now, this came out January. I can't remember if it was either early or mid-January, but one of the very first albums I really loved this year. And right then it was put right at the top of my list, and all through the year it's just been staying and staying and staying in the list. And I didn't actually show this album at the time when I got it, but in going back listening through this one, every time I listen to it actually is climbing and climbing. It was already, obviously in January there wasn't much competition, but through the year it's stayed, and it's actually climbing and climbing, and it very likely will finish in the top 10 of albums this year. And I'm talking about this beauty. The artwork is fantastic. That kind of lets you know what you're going to get. So now, bear with me, because I know there's some people that are a little bit put off by black metal. Definitely it's black metal. It's atmospheric, but it's quite progressive, and at times the black metal sounds more like progressive death metal a little bit at times. To say it sounds like Opeth is a bit silly. That's wrong. It's a lot more extreme than Opeth, but it's quite conceptual. Okay, so first of all, let me backtrack a bit. The name of the band is called Leshant de Nuit, And the name of the album is that. Now, I can speak another couple of languages, but French, and I'm just going to sound like a fool if I try and pronounce things that I don't know. That's the name of the album. So it came out this year, January. Now, as you can see, I don't really know. I mean, I could go through, I guess, and translate it all and work out. But for me, it feels like it is a concept album. And the reason why is if you look at the back there, see how everything, you got Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. So I don't know whether they're just doing it in that way to look classy sort of thing, or is it a concept album? It feels like it's a concept album. The tracks are quite sort of long, not incredibly long, but they're all around like 6, 7, 8 minutes. And in each song, there's sort of winding parts. It's not all just straight blast as much as you can black metal. There are lots of little interesting bits. The drumming on this album is fantastic. When it wants to pummel you over the head and knock you into submission, it does. But there are times where it gets into sort of military marching beats. There are times where the drums are just by themselves and it's quite clear and pronounced and slowed down. My favourite track on this, and is going to be probably very close to one of my favourite songs of the year, is the title track, which is that. I'll just keep showing that because I'm not really very good with French. Apologies to people that are good at the French language, not for me. Ode Orcs Resigns, I think that's how you say it. Luby History, other two favourites. But the whole album is really, it's one of those albums that's great to listen to all the way through. It's the title track stands out because it is just amazing. It is, I just keep listening and listening and listening and listening to it. It's kind of lucky that the title track doesn't start the album because I may not have heard the rest of the album. It is just so good. The drumming, the vocals just sound like, my goodness, like they're opening up the gates of hell. But there's lots of other interesting bits. As I say, it's not just pure extreme. Probably my favourite black metal album of the year. I don't think anything else could possibly beat this. The Mar Cognitum album is right up there, but I do like this better actually, of just straight black metal. But as I say, there's lots of other elements to it. So it's not just, if you're expecting an early Mayhem album or an early Dark Throne album, it's not that at all. Not quite as progressive as Enslaved. It's probably in some ways quite similar to the Mardrum Enslaved album, but more progressive than that. Boy, it's hard to categorize this album. Maybe that's what's so great about it, because it's just so interesting. I love black metal, but sometimes, like any subgenre of music, when everything sounds the same as the last band, it's not so great. When you get a band that does things just a little bit different, really good. It's probably a little bit closer, sort of close, I guess, in some ways to some of the later Emperor albums, but even that's not quite right. Just look, if you like black metal or extreme metal that's a little bit different and interesting and has great songs, great songwriting, the execution and musicianship is fantastic, then I highly recommend this. Sean at Mostly Metal, I think it's called Mostly Metal and Mead now, but yeah, Sean, you would love this. And Ron Haggerty, I think you might like this as well. I don't know if you can still get it on vinyl though. When there might be, I haven't gone back to their Bandcamp site since. When I got this, there was no vinyl available. I can't remember if it had sold out or if there just wasn't pressed on vinyl. And I really wanted it, so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to get the CD. And it's, you know, it's nice sort of digipack. As you can see, the disc is not there because it's still in the car. I've pulled it out again, and I can't get it back out of the car again now. It's just there all the time. So this is their 4th album. I think they started in 2007 from France. I can't remember whereabouts in France they're from, but yeah, highly recommended, and it will probably finish in my top 10 of the year for sure. My Fleetwood Mac kick continues. Been listening to this ripper. I love the Bob Welsh era. Absolutely love it. I love all the eras. I've said that before, but I think the Bob Welsh, you got the old purists that talk about the Peter Green era, and then of course everybody knows about the Buckingham Nicks era. But the Bob Welsh era, really good, very well-made songs, good sort of, just good to listen to rock, sort of pop rock. So Danny Kerwin not on this album. He'd left just before this album. This is Bob Weston's first album. And Dave Walker, this is the only album that Dave Walker ever appeared on. And I can see why they didn't keep him around, because he sort of brought a bit of a... now, his voice doesn't sound anything like Bob Dylan, don't get me wrong, but he brought a little bit of a Bob Dylan sound to Fleetwood Mac, in my opinion. And it just didn't really suit their sound. And his vocals, I don't dislike them, but his vocals are very sort of... how can you say, out on the road, I've been drinking whiskey and having a good time and that sort of thing. His vocals have a little bit of that about it, and it just... So the other main vocalists on this album are, of course, Christine McVie and Bob Welsh. Their two voices go so well together, and then you have Dave Walker's voice, which didn't really suit. And the only I should say this about him not lasting, because the only 2 songs on here I don't really like are the 2 songs that Dave Walker exclusively does the vocals on. So, and one of them's a cover as well, which, as you know, there's about 10 covers in history that I like. So, a very good album though. Remember Me, brilliant. A really good Christine McVie. I never know. Is it McVie or McVie? Might be McVie. Isn't that terrible? I'm such a big Fleetwood Mac fan. I think it's McVie. Christine McVie. Yeah, Bob McVie, Christine McVie. Oh well. It's early morning and I've been working a lot of hours, so my mind's not really that great at the moment. But anyway, Remember Me is brilliant. Bright Fire is my favourite song on here. The green magnesium fire line in here, in the chorus, is just so good. A great Bob Welch song. Did You Ever Love Me is a brilliant song. Revelation, and Night Watch. Now Night Watch actually has Peter Green coming back and doing a little bit of guitar work on the song Night Watch. So a brilliant album. On CD reissue. I do like how they did this. I've got a few of these, and yeah, so it's done like it's an LP. These, if you're looking for these, I've been looking forever for these on vinyl, and either very hard to get or very expensive. This Bob Welsh era of Fleetwood Mac, and I do want to do them all. I will do a Fleetwood Mac ranking video too, but yeah, that's fine by me to have that. Been listening to Winger quite a bit. Yeah, I know. Winger sometimes get a bit of a hard time from... It never worried me. I always just listened to whatever I wanted to, and I love Winger. I think they're brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. This is either this or Pull are my favourite. I think Pull is maybe a better album all the way through, but this has my 2 favourite Winger songs of all time, and then a couple of my favourite songs of all time. This has Can't Get Enough, the big single with a music video. Absolutely love that song. Just always love it. And You Are the Saint, I Am the Sinner. It's really probably one of their heaviest songs they ever did. Kip sounds so good on these tracks. And of course, Reb Beach, brilliant guitarist, very underrated guitarist. Of course, he's been with Whitesnake for quite a long time. This is 1990. Their second album. You can hear a thunderstorm in the background too. yeah, so brilliant. I love Winger. I love Winger so much. I might even do a ranking of their albums one day as well. I've got everything except for the one after 4. It took a while off before they brought it out. It comes after 4. I can't remember the name. It's got a black cover. No, I can't remember now. I've got all the other albums except for that, so I might do a Winger ranking one day. But yeah, I think they're brilliant. I really don't care what anyone says. I'm like that with all my music. Whatever I want to listen to, I listen to, and yeah, if it's corny, so what? I gave up caring about what people thought about what I listened to in the mid-80s sometime, sort of going in when I was early high school. I just thought, yeah. I mean, in early primary school, I got teased for writing things like Iron Maiden and Pink Floyd and King Crimson and that on my school bag. So it was then that I realised, I'm just going to love what I love, and I don't care if it's popular or not. If I'm the only fan in the world of that band, then so be it. So this is the other new thing that I picked up recently. Got this last week. Charlie Mingus album. Love Charlie Mingus. And don't crucify me if this is not the accepted thing, but once again, it's up to me. I think the more and more I'm getting of jazz, and I love Coltrane, don't get me wrong. I love Miles Davis, don't get me wrong. I'm loving Sun Ra. Aaron the Metal Theologian always gives me tips. I ask him what else should I get in the Sun Ra and all that, and he gives me good insights. But I think the more Charles Mingus stuff that I get, I think he's my favourite. I do. I really do. I think he's my favourite. So I got this last week. Pithecanthropus erectus. The Charlie Mingus Jazz Workshop. I think this is 1967. Doesn't say it on the back anywhere here. Well, it was released in 1967. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. Love this to bits. I've listened to it quite a bit since I got it. So, lovely gatefold there. So good. I'll show you this. On the doll label. Absolutely brilliant. Sounds great. It's obviously a reissue. No, I'm going to take too long if I look for... I can't remember the actual reissue date. I have seen it around for about 6 or 7 months. That doesn't mean that that's how old it is, but before I got it. So it's not brand new. I don't know. It's probably... 2017, that's right. I don't know where I saw it, but I think it was on... It might have been on the hype sticker. Yeah, 2017 is the reissue date, so brilliant. And yeah, I think Charles Mingus might be my favourite jazz artist. I think so. Just a little bit over the Miles and Coltrane and Herbie Hancock and the likes, the usual suspects. But yeah. So look, that's what I've been listening to. A couple of things that I bought. The new releases of the weeks. I'll put them in the links below. And thanks everyone for watching. I know I haven't put up many videos in the last 2 months or so. Work's been crazy. When I work long and very long hours and continuous. So even when I'm not working, the next day I feel absolutely buggered to do anything. So, but I try and make a video whenever I can, and I try and watch as many of your videos whenever I can. So, but thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you soon.